The NC700 has gone off to a new owner, and I'm kind of glad. I wasn't riding it too much, but man, when that bike really was a really good bike because the efficiency. If I didn't have the Super Tenere, I'd be riding the NC almost every day. Oh boy, yeah, so now I have two scooters, the Super Tenere and the CRF. Look at that. Nice. By the way, this one's got a lithium battery. It's got it's very comfortable. The seat is comfortable. It's very well set up. Very easy bike to ride, that's for sure. Not a lot of power. It's so different than riding my XR650R. You know, when you're riding that bike, it feels like a beast, and I do enjoy that. By the way, it's weird that the XR650R is lighter than this bike. But I think the good thing about this is that it's very well mannered. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a difficult bike to handle. I haven't really tried it off-road. I'm really just learning how it behaves. But it's very effortless. Very easy to maneuver. It's got the 21-inch front wheels, so those 21-inch front wheels are not very good for cornering. By the way, gas has dropped like crazy. It went from like 440 to 369. So the NC700 is gone. My first DCT Honda. I really like that bike. I know that a lot of people, that's not their favorite bike to ride, but I enjoy the motor. I enjoy the efficiency of the motor. It is very much like a scooter engine, and I wonder if it's the same engine that's on the Honda Silverwing. I guess not, because the Silverwing gets less gas mileage than the NC. So why did I sell the NC700? Because I really like it. I like the NC quite a bit, but I kind of feel that I'm not doing a lot of commuting, and that bike is a commuter. It's a bike for like very leisure sort of riding, and the problem is that I have other fuel efficient bikes. My SH150 is extremely fuel efficient, and it seems to be kind of doing double duty. But the NC has got an advantage over that. A little bit less gas mileage decrease, but with that 700cc engine, it lasts very long. You know, I do like bikes that people are capable of putting 100,000 miles with very little maintenance, and that NC is one of those. And I like the 6-speed version, I think, a little bit more than the DCT. But the DCT is cool. It's just added complexity over something that doesn't need to be complex. What I like about the NC is the simplicity. You know, that bike has got the valves that are easy to service, forks that are easy to service. So I think if I was to keep the NC, I probably would prefer the manual version. I think that bike would have made a great adventure bike if they put a 19-inch front wheel, because as a 17-inch type of bike, it's more for, you know, commuting in the city, and that's what it's meant for. It's just commuting in the city. I didn't do any like very long rides on that, but I have always thought that bike is so undervalued in the United States. And in Europe, I think people appreciate it because they have $8 gas. But around here, you know, when you have a Super Tenere, and you have a bike like the NC, they kind of do the same thing. And, you know, even though the NC is fuel efficient, the shaft drive of the Super Tenere kind of compensates for it, because eventually you're going to have to put in $300, $400 into the chain of the NC, and that's going to outweigh the costs of the gas savings, I think. This one, I don't plan on using this for like very long trips. My idea of having this 250 is that I would trailer to an area I'd like to explore, like West Virginia, where I was with the Super 10 Ray, where I can easily get on that area just by riding there. But with this one, I would trailer it close, and I would explore that area. I would camp around there for a day or two, and then I would trailer it to another area. So that's my idea behind this bike. I think the first thing you'll notice on this bike is that it's ultra smooth. The engine transmission is very smooth. That's very much what a Honda tends to be. And it sounds new. You know, it's still got that engine new sound. It's very slow. That's the thing about this. You can't really rail. It's not the type of bike that you get to rail. Like, I'm gassing it here. It goes up to 60 miles an hour. But that seems to be good. Like, it keeps you from getting tickets. This is very imperfect right here. Let's see how it handles. Yeah, pretty good. A little stiff. This would make a great commuter, by the way, just because of the suspension and 21-inch front wheel. I've never liked how 21-inch front wheels feel when you're riding on the road and on twisties. This one, I mean, everything about it, it feels like a dirt bike. Now, the real test is going to be when I take it off-road. I don't intend on taking it off-road just yet because I'm still kind of learning the bike. But road manners are excellent. It moves okay. It's not fast. That's the thing. I kind of wish it was a little bit more powerful. I do like something with a kick. And they do make the CRF250l, but that's a very expensive bike. That's like $10,000. So going around corners, yeah, the wheels kind of detract a little bit from the riding experience, I think. And I keep wanting to shift more because I think it's got more top end, but this is it. Like, going around corners, I guess it's fine. So I have an aftermarket exhaust that I can put on, and I'm probably going to put it just to see how it sounds. But the problem is that I like being stealthy, and I like being stealthy, especially off-road. Look at that, my first gravel. And that's it. One thing I don't like is that the levers, the clutch and the brake are like this way. I think it's for people who like to stand up, because I have to put my elbows up, and I don't like that because I'm more of a street rider. But if I was to stand up, it feels absolutely comfortable to do this on this bike. It's a very comfortable bike to stand up because the previous owner put these risers. I've never really cared for standing up while riding. I know that's what you have to do off-road, but I don't do it. This bike won't pull any wheelies. It's not like the XR. It is liquid cooled as well. This thing is just a very durable dual sport. Very easy to live with dual sport. Because I think a lot of people consider this to be the real baby Africa Twin. Another thing that's really strange is that the gas tank on this is so low. I'm actually sitting really high up. The gas tank, the way it's getting fuel, it's like so much lower than a standard gas tank that I've seen on a bike. Because even on my XR650R, the weight is higher up. The weight on this is very central. Now that I'm like looking at this, the gas tank, I think it hits me right like below my belly button. And most other bikes, like the 10 Ray, it's almost like my bottom of my rib cage. The tank on this is also very small, so it keeps the weight low. Because I think a lot of people that get adventure bikes like the Super 10 Rays, GS's, Africa Twins, they have this marketing idea of them going into the woods and riding off-road and having these great adventures. But they don't realize that those bikes weigh 600 pounds. They drop them and break a leg. And I think what happens with a lot of the adventure guys they get these big adventure bikes, they take them off-road once, and then they're like, oh shit, this is not a good bike for off-roading, and then they eventually sell them and get one of these if they have you know, the right things in their heads. But if you do really want to do off-roading, this one is great because it is capable of doing single track, even though it's very big for a single track type of bike. I mean, I am kind of nervous with all of this body work to take it off-road and dropping it, and sometimes it even makes a little bit more sense to buy the standard version than the Rally. I believe this one has just got like the racks and all of that sort of stuff for commuting, and that's what like most people will tend to do. They'll just casually ride. But I think this could be used as a Trans-America trail bike. Very capable for that, I believe, because you can put luggage on it. So I want to show you the bike so you can see what she looks like. It's a really cool looking bike, I have to admit. Honda did a really good job styling this. You know, it's different than the standard version. The standard's got no plastic and some other stuff. I'm not exactly sure yet. The kickstand has been cut, that's why I dropped it. So if I kind of lean it a little bit, you see how much it comes off the air. So I have to be careful with that. That's one of the problems with it. So this one's got the 21-inch front wheel. One thing I noticed right away, today I brake kind of hard. The forks dove in quite a bit. So the bike, not a great street bike for riding at speed, but that's a given. It's got a single rotor up front, so that's pretty standard. Upside down forks, that's a big benefit. You don't usually see that in this price point. And of course, if you go with Kawasaki, you don't get all the good things that Honda puts in their bikes, but Honda, you pay a little bit more for this sort of stuff, and I do like it. I mean, it's a really cool looking style. You have the high fender, HRC, that's their racing company. Squirrely's got the exact same bike except in red. This one has got the headlight guard. I think it looks cool. It's got the weird kind of clunky lights, kind of like BMW does. This also has the guards for the forks. So this one's got a lot of protection. You see that? It's got a bash blade in the front. It's really well protected. The downside is really any maintenance, but I believe that's the oil filter there, oil filler, and it's also got a sight glass, so you can see the oil. It's down low, so it's not there. And I believe that's for the passenger foot pegs. The previous owner just removed it. That's the rear brake fluid, swing arm, pretty standard. It's a very small thin tire in the rear. What is that, an 18 in the rear? The exhaust is stock, but I do have an FMF exhaust that I can put on. This has got it's a Tusk cargo bag, and the previous owner actually cut the side cases off or something because he had the pannier racks along with this. This one also has crash bars, really very good crash bars. They did protect the plastic very well. This has got aftermarket grips. These are pretty comfortable. It's pretty standard. It's got a hazards button. It's got turn signals, a horn. The mirrors work really well. There's not a lot of vibration coming through the handlebars. This has got a riser, as you can tell. I normally never use risers. Like, I think some people really like to stand up when they're riding. I'm not one of them, so I don't really need it. So gas cap. By the way, you can reach the coolant from here, so we don't have to remove any plastic. This is directly from the CBF500 NC700 sort of styling that Honda's doing. They're basically taking this and putting it in different bikes, but it works very well. Not a lot of buttons to go through, just 1 and 2, one for switching, one for resetting. This one's got a 12-volt socket here for charging your whatever. Not a lot of vibration comes from the handlebar. The lights are very easily to access. You can adjust the lights with those screws. I believe these are HID lights as well. But yeah, that's the 250 Rally, and very easy to ride. You know, if you're looking for a dual sport bike, this is it. It's not exactly like an off-roader, and I think what I mean by that is that it's extremely heavy. As a 250, you might go like, oh, it's a 250, it's small, it's light, but it is heavy, and you can tell when I dropped it, picking it up, it's a beast. And I haven't ridden it off-road yet. When I do, and I've had plenty of experience off-road, I'm not very good at it, but I can tell right away that it's going to be quite a handful. And I plan on taking it on some single tracks, but I think this bike really shines as a dual sporter. Like, you know, KLR 650 sort of thing. Yeah, it's a really cool looking bike. I mean, just look at that. I might have to take a photo of this bike. This thing, of course, is fuel injected, so it starts really, really easy. It's just one of them on. I wonder if it's just let's see. Yeah, I guess with the, yeah, look at that. I like the headlights. They don't seem very bright. All right, thanks for coming along on the ride with me, guys. I really appreciate it. That's the CRF250l Rally, and I hope to do some more videos with this bike because it really opens up the possibilities for riding. So thanks for riding with me, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.